Hi there folks, I wanted to put across an idea that I have about the nature of music, or how we can perceive music. For a long time we've tended to perceive music in a very linear fashion in our culture. We use the letters of the alphabet to denote the various semitones, going through A to G sharp. The alphabet, of course, we use in a very linear fashion, left to right on the page. Here we have a picture of what they call a musical alphabet. C, D, E, F, G, A, B and C are the white notes on the piano. The black notes in between are the sharps and flats. This is how Western music portrays it all. It's not how it is as such. It's just the nature of the layout of a keyboard, which is where a lot of music theory has arisen from. Likewise, music notation, it shows the way that notes can ascend, and it also involves the concept of a timeline in music, very useful for writing down a piece of music, but again leading us to see it in a linear fashion. For a long time I've perceived music as you go round from A through to sharps and flats and notes up to the next A. You go up an octave, which is a doubling of the frequency. Music is measured in hertz or cycles per second, they're the same thing, and it's how many oscillations or vibrations there are in the time span of 1 second. So concert pitch A is usually taken to be 440 hertz, which means that 440 times every second there is the rate at which that note oscillates. So when we go from A up through an octave to the next A, we've doubled the frequency, and it's like we've gone full circle. If you see this circle as the top of a cylinder, and you imagine a helix wrapped around the outside of the cylinder, you're getting a bit closer to a better understanding of music pitch and how it can be portrayed visually. This is a simplification in that to mark each location of each semitone, I've simply divided the 360 degrees of a circle by 12, which gives 30 degrees for each step. The way that the musical frequencies work is different though. Each step is not the same as every other one. Here is a more realistic way of portraying it, and as you can see, the gap between A and A sharp is smaller than the one between A sharp and B, and so on, all the way around till this gap is probably almost twice that one. And that's because of the way that the musical frequencies work. It's the same reason that on a guitar the frets get closer and closer as you move up towards the 12th fret. And if we look at a table of frequencies, what I'm interested to hear is the column that says equal temperament. The just scale is very interesting, I'll come back to that later, but at the moment we're going to work with this column, and it shows that C4 is 261 Hz, C5 is 523. That is twice 261. So we go through 261 Hz to get up to the next octave. Now the difference between each note, between C and C4, is 16.9. It looks like 10.9 there, but it's actually 16.9. And there to there is 21.8 degrees, and so on. I've worked out the difference between each semitone going up to there, and then I've put each of those numbers over 261, so that there's the difference over 261, and multiply by 360 to get the degrees. And so here we have the degrees of each segment between each semitone, and you can see that they rise as you go up. So how do I get the spiral? Now to arrive at the marking of the spiral, well, first let me give you the idea of it. This is a lower frequency here. This is an ascending note as we follow the spiral. If you imagine a pitch continuously rising, higher, 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 and it goes on indefinitely, getting closer and closer to the middle but never meeting it, and the other way carries on going out and out forever, way out below range of human hearing in both directions. So we can hear from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz is the human hearing range, but the audio spectrum goes out in both directions way beyond that. So to mark the spiral, what I've done on each of these radial arms, which shows a note, I've marked the proportion. It's a little bit complicated, bear with me. Here I've marked there, where it crosses here on this is the A radial arm, where it crosses is 440 Hz, and that is, I've measured from the centre out to proportional to the frequency, and similarly for 880, 220, 110 up there. The reason that the numbers go this way, the larger numbers are closer to the centre, is because when we talk about 440 Hz, we're talking about 440 cycles per second. So if we divide 1 second by 440, we get a number slightly over 2. If we divide 1 second by the number 220, we get a number slightly over 4. So it's those numbers that I'm concerned with here, like slightly over 2, slightly over 4, so you can see why it goes further from the centre. It's called the reciprocal or the inverse when you divide the 1 by that number. And I've done that for each note. You know, this, every time that the spiral crosses represents another octave up. And also what I've marked in green here is the distance between each radial arm on the spiral is the same for each note, even though the pie slice, the angle, is different. That is the same, and that works for 1 octave, and then again it works for the next octave going round from there to there, and then for the next one going round from there to there. Also, if you look over in the corner here, I've done a rough 3D representation of it. I'm perceiving this centre point as being much, much higher. It's like a seashell, and every spiral goes higher and higher as you go higher in frequency. Now, if you look at the science of cymatics, you see how music affects matter. It's a well-proven subject, lots of YouTube videos on there. And it raises the questions, is it possible that sound gives rise to form in our world? And some people believe that every bit of physical matter around us is the result of certain sonic frequencies, that they give rise to it. More esoteric side of it, but anyway, this is more about the maths and how you arrive at this picture. So I was going to say a little more about equal temperament and just scale. Equal temperament is what virtually all instruments are tuned to, and it's an approximation of what would be called pure tone. If we look here, the note, if we start with the note of A at the top and we look opposite, we have the note of E. Now E is the next most harmonious note with A after its own octaves. It's what would be called the fifth in music, and when you mark it out like this with the differing radial widths, E is diametrically opposite. That's the strongest resonance, and this is the beauty of this way of portraying music, is it shows the relationship between notes much better than any other way that I've seen. And then the next most harmonious note would be the D, and the D is 1/3 of the way around the circle. This is what makes music harmonious, is proportion. It's the ratios between notes that gives beautiful consonants, and if it's not a simple ratio, then that makes a more disharmonious note, used more in discordant jazz, for instance. So that's basically what I wanted to show people. It's not the smoothest video out there on YouTube, but I just wanted to get the information out there for anyone who'd be interested. The music in the background is some of my own music. Andy Ra's my name. I'm hoping to be putting up more music and visuals in the near future. I hope you found this interesting. Comments are very welcome, and I will try to respond to them. Thank you for your attention. All the best now.